This is a free sample of the book Don't Give a Shit and Succeed by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/stoic. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/stoic. Intro. The horrid habit men have mastered. We are the masters of complicating our lives and justifying why we do it. The justifications are vast and diverse, but the method of complication is somewhat common. Giving a shit about things you should not. When I say we, I'm referring to males, the boys. This book is written specifically to them because I am male, and being the best male possible is what I write about most. Sorry to any ladies that picked up this book, but guys will benefit the most. However, I think even women who read this will appreciate it because a world with less anxious males will benefit everyone. The most miserable person on earth is Karen, a middle-aged woman with short hair, unattractive physique, and a resting bitch face. Like her name suggests phonetically, Karen cares about way too much that does not matter, while obviously caring too little about things that do, like her appearance and energy outpour. Karen complains when she sees kids skateboarding without all the possible protective gear on. She shouts when they climb trees. She bitches her brains out when she sees someone vaping. She'll make a scene and slut-shame a younger woman who's fortunate looking enough to look good wearing less. When college kids are having a party, she complains to the local police even when the noise isn't audible in her house. Her rule is that no one is allowed to have fun, since her life is anything but. When solutions are applied to other people's problems, those solutions become her problems. They are anywhere from mere inconvenience to all-out injustice, even though the effect they have on her is marginal at best. She once sued the local city council for installing speed bumps after a school child was killed by a speeding driver. Her bitch was that she spilled hot coffee on herself while driving over them too fast. Like the asshole that sued McDonald's for a similar situation, she couldn't bear to think that it was her fault. Karen also attended a woman's march because someone that she and her like-minded friends didn't like got elected to office. She believes that she speaks for all women, which is why she and her organizer friends choose to call it a march for all women. Often, when in arguments that she started, of course, she'll begin her piece by saying something like, "as a woman," or "as a mother." A regular habit of hers is to volunteer information that no one asked for. Quite often her arguments take place on social media platforms, since she's the self-appointed police of all conversations and opinions. At least 46% of her lifespan and 71% of her energy has been spent on social media arguing in comment wars. Even when she wins those wars, she still feels discontent because nothing really changes. As you can see, the problem is that she cares way too much. So much of her life is wasted by things that do not remotely matter nor affect her. In South Park, it turns out that the goth kids actually have the right idea, or at least some of it right. They ask the question, what's the point of caring if all it brings is pain? They used this line to justify their apathy. However, apathy is not the answer, but rather an awareness of the cost of caring. When I was a kid, a very popular video game that's still around and being rebooted today was Mortal Kombat. In the game, each player was assigned a life bar. The bar would become depleted as your character took a hit from the other player. We have a similar life bar in our lives, one that represents our energy and effort, also one that represents our attention and time, two resources that are severely limited. You can also argue that our money is like a life bar as well, but everyone that's not a billionaire is well aware of the limits on their money. The point is that there is a finite amount of each of these things in your life presently. The things you choose to care about will chip away at them, and caring about far too many things will deplete them. Today's world now poses a great danger as it attempts to convince you to care about far too many things. But consider the contrapoint. If caring too much will make you unhappy, what will caring too little do? Maybe not be completely careless, but rather care a lot less. Turns out, there is great success that awaits you when you care a lot less. The best example I can think of from my own personal life was when I gave up Facebook. Like most other people in my generation, I spent too much time on it. Each time I took a dump, an extra 20 minutes was added to the sojourn just from scrolling the newsfeed. When I was waiting in line at a red light or for a date to show up, I took it as an opportunity to scroll. All these instances added up could account for almost 3 hours a day. And from those 3 hours, was I really getting much happiness? Absolutely not. Social media is very adversarial to straight white males. If you were from an alien world and all you had to see of Earth was a Facebook feed, you'd think that straight white males are the scum of the earth. You'd think they were racists, rapists, and privileged oppressors. Social media is where the lies of male privilege, the gender wage gap, higher education as a human right, 95 different genders, and social justice were born. While seeing these things in my feed was like hearing nails on a chalkboard, I chose not to respond. The people who believed this bullshit made it almost too easy to rip them to shreds. Shit like, male privilege is being able to wear the same outfit multiple times to events while girls can't wear the same dress twice no matter how cute it is. Honey, there isn't a single straight male on earth that gives a flying fuck if you wear the same dress twice. The negative comments will come from other women, and they're probably named Karen. In fact, all slut-shaming is done by older women, not men. If anything, men are slut-celebrating. But if I were to respond to the imbecile posts in my Facebook feed, I'd get locked down into an energy-draining comment war, like Karen does. I'd be pissing away time, energy, attention, and even money, because time is money. All for what? To dish out a valid point to a moron that doesn't even have the mental capacity to understand a valid point? When you argue with an idiot, they bring you down to their level and win by means of home field advantage. Instead, I decided to not care. While on the toilet, scrolling through Facebook and seeing all this garbage, I stopped giving a shit about it while I was taking one. I even went as far as to delete my Facebook account and never use social media again. The results in my life's improvement were astounding. When I got back the extra 3 hours a day, I was able to do more writing of books like this one, which led to more income. I was able to read more books to get ideas for future books. I was able to work out more often and even more intense because I also had an excess of energy in addition to time. I was able to spend more time researching stocks to buy, which led to more money. I was even able to get better at dancing, which led to more sex in my life. At that point, I learned a vital lesson. If it doesn't make you money, nor make you happy, then it doesn't warrant caring about. Those are the only things that you should care about. And when faced with a temptation to spill out your time, energy, attention, or money, which form the acronym TEAM, to care about something, ask yourself in that moment, will this make me money or make me happy? If yes, care about it. If no, run far away from it. These withdrawals from worthless pursuits will push you closer to more worthwhile ones. The world will present you with so many temptations to care or social imperatives to give a shit about things that have no meaning on your life at all. Things like politics, gossip, materialism, and manufactured organized outrage. Those are very general and are fired off at everyone like bullets without names on them, but rather a note that says, to whom it may concern. It's your choice to be concerned. However, there are bullets with your name on them, things that are very personal, pissing on you by social imperative, like finding the perfect partner and ruminating about other people's opinions of you, none of which will a moment spent worrying about help one bit. These worries are created by the lying industrial complex, and their lies exist to make you care about shit you don't need to, so you'll be burned out of energy and waste money on solutions to simple problems you could have fixed yourself. They'd rather you elect politicians to solve problems and supposedly make your life easier, even while you have the power to do so yourself all along. And yes, this push to make you care about stupid shit is an industry. We live in an economy where businesses pretend to care about social issues to make money off those that pretend to care about social issues. Further, these lies will have you putting pressure on others to be more than they can be so you can have an easier life. The ultimate narcissism and characteristic of Karen is the belief that the world must bend to your will and do as you please, despite no offering of equal value by you in return. It should be your way just because it's yours. The goth kids in South Park asked, "What's the point of caring if all it brings is pain?" But the correct question to ask is, what will it cost me when I start caring about this? Our culture promotes suffering as though there is nobility in it, which is entirely ridiculous horseshit made to benefit the power brokers of such culture. Happiness comes from a handful of elements. One of them is having an excess of free time, or even just time. After all, you were happier as a kid than you are as an adult because you had your whole life ahead of you with a limited understanding of time. Giving a shit takes time away, therefore it is a threat to your happiness. Another component to happiness is money. Despite the popular bullshit in our collective culture, happiness can be bought. Because if you're rich enough to not need to work, a great source of misery for most people is now gone from your life. But giving a shit can often cost money. Therefore, it is a threat to your happiness. It also takes energy to be happy. The high spirits that the joyful exhibit are not purely from the adrenaline resulting from life going so hunky-dory. As the majority of all human thoughts are negative by nature, it takes work to override them with optimism, positivity, and personal joy. But when you give a shit about so much else, you are low on energy. Therefore, it is a threat to your happiness and your success potential because energy is required to do what's needed to be successful. To be successful, you need to direct your attention to the right places. In fact, billionaire Warren Buffett says that success is determined by what you say no to, what you refuse to waste your time and attention on. But when you give a shit too easily, you waste your attention. Thus, it is a threat to your success. Further, anything that is a threat to your happiness is also a threat to your success because happy people are more successful. Happiness is an advantage in life. Consequently, anything that is a threat to your success is also a threat to your happiness because success is certainly an inspiration to be happy. And if giving a shit is a threat to both, is it possible that not giving a shit is a step toward both? The answer is an overwhelming yes. The secret to a better, happier, and more successful life is not having more things to care about, but less. Caring about something carries a cost with it. After all, the words care and carry have the same root because their meaning is similar. That's why you must ask, what is the cost of caring about this? For every pleasurable experience, there is a cost that is painful. It's not always 100% equal, but it is within the same ballpark. A fun vacation to Hawaii is not cheap. While the experience is very pleasurable, there were weeks of hard work spent to earn the money to pay for it. While sex with a hot babe is very pleasurable, there were hours of effort spent charming her with a lure. While money itself can buy so many pleasurable options, at least an hour of unenjoyable work must be done to get it. This does not mean that your happiness and misery in life will always be equally balanced or close to it. Pleasure is only one kind of happiness, which comes from the external world. But joy is a different kind, as it comes from within. Your pleasure is limited only to the amount of pain you endure, but your joy is unlimited, or only limited to the extent you limit it to. However, we ask all the wrong questions in the pursuit of happiness by pleasure. Quite often, people only think of what pleasures they wish to pursue, forgetting that a nearly equal amount of pain must be put in first. They think only about the fun parts of raising a child, while forgetting about the awful parts like the kids screaming, shitting, breaking things, and racking up expenses. One should have asked themselves beforehand if the fun parts of raising a kid were worth enduring those pains. The wedding day and night may be the happiest time in a man's life because he gets a ton of positive attention throughout the day. His wife, for once, is pleasant both to be around and look at on that day. And he is likely going to have some hot sex that night. But from then on, life will be all downhill as he becomes the recipient of negative attention, blame, and scorn. His wife deteriorates in appearance and personality, no longer pleasant to look at nor be around, and sex is a thing of the past. One must ask if getting married is worth enduring all these pains beforehand. An overseas trip is a lot of fun. The plane ride over there is not. Is it worth it? Instead of asking what pleasures we want to experience, we should ask what pains are we willing to endure. And while enduring such pain, can we maintain our joy? If we give a shit, will the shit provide a return? Will the pain one day produce pleasure? Sometimes it does, as shit can be a fertilizer for plants and crops, but most times it does not. It only sits around stinking and is good for nothing other than to be flushed away. Turn the page and prepare yourself to flush so much worthless shit away from your life forever. Then prepare to succeed from your shitlessness. Before we get started, I have a free gift for you. As a way of saying thank you for listening to this audiobook, I want to give you a free gift. At reinventideal.com/free gift, you will receive the ebook DMs for Dates, using Instagram like a dating app. What this ebook covers is how to carry conversations with women you wish to date on Instagram through DMs. And this works with both women you already know and with women you haven't met yet. I will show you how to save time, avoid endless chit-chat, and get her on the date sooner. So head to reinventideal.com/free gift to claim this now. Thank you so much for listening. Before we continue, we got disclaimers and a caution to read, because we live in such a litigious society full of complete imbeciles that want to blame everybody else for all of the problems that they have. No personal responsibility or anything for their actions, no. So, let me read this to make my attorney happy. You are responsible for your actions and behavior. None of this book is considered legal, personal, medical, or financial advice. By continuing to listen to this audiobook, you hereby indemnify and hold the author, publisher, and parent company, Reinvent Ideal LLC, as well as its directors, officers, agents, attorneys, owners, employees, and successors, and assigns harmless from any loss, liability, claim, or demand, including reasonable as well as unreasonable attorney's fees, from any loss, liability, damage, and cost arising from or in any way related to the contents of this audiobook. You accept full responsibility and liability for actions and results from using any products, services, or suggestions made inside this book and its supplemental resources. Reinvent Ideal LLC specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any techniques or contents of this book or manual or supplemental materials provided. By continuing to listen to this audiobook, you agree that you are voluntarily participating in these activities and assume all risks of injury, physical, financial, or other, yourself that might occur, and acknowledge it is your responsibility to decide if you want to follow the contents of this book or not. You are responsible for yourself and release all liability from Reinvent Ideal LLC and its owners, the author, publisher, and parent company. Before acting on anything in this book, seek the advice of a competent professional. All right, we got the lawyers satisfied. Now let's move on.